I started out as a painter, quite traditionally painting portraits, nudes, what have you. And then in 1968, around that period, I got involved in demonstrations against the Vietnam War and started getting involved with what was happening politically. And then it was a question of trying to merge what I was doing in my work with what I believed in politically. I think it's a sort of decision artists make, that either your work is separate or you try and make the connections. So I started using photography because obviously photography is a trace of reality, and I wanted to use actual images of reality. So I started using photography and montaging the images together. Because of the rise of the anti-nuclear movement in the late 70s, early 80s, and Margaret Thatcher becoming Prime Minister in 79, there was this enormous surge of anti-nuclear protests, and with cruise missiles going to Greenham Common, it felt like there was a lot of imagery needed, and amazing imagery did come out of Greenham from the women who went and demonstrated there. But I wanted to do work that actually sort of deconstructed the images of nuclear weapons that had become acceptable. You could buy a poster from Athena and it was like very popular, put it on your bedroom wall, and it was just an enormous nuclear explosion, you know. I started working with CND and using like the CND symbol and breaking a missile in it. And for all these images, that I did them very crudely, because I believe that with montage it's not concealing that's important. It's actually it's the idea that someone has made a set of decisions with photographs and put those photographs together. So I don't try and hide the joins. And like with the nuclear one, you know, it was just a cardboard CND symbol I made. And then I went to Hamleys and went to the sort of children's guided missile department, which I have, and bought a plastic missile and then smashed it up with a hammer and put it in there. I mean, that one and the Haywain one, which, because cruise missiles, when they came to Britain, were going to travel round the countryside near 100 miles around Greenham Common, they were actually going to touch on the area where Constable painted the Haywain. So I had this idea of putting the cruise missiles on the Haywain. These ones are done very fast. I mean, if we took one like the Berlin Wall coming down, I started that one on the day that the wall was actually being knocked down in '89, and The Guardian said they'd run a picture. It was like, that was on the Friday, they'd run it on the Monday. So I got a photograph of the Berlin Wall, and then someone photographed my hand shaking hands with someone else. And then, because it was all being done very fast, I didn't have a picture of the wall coming down, so I went round Stoke Newington, where I live, and photographed broken walls, and then montaged the broken bit onto the Berlin Wall. I mean, one thing about montage is bringing two images together, and through those two images you create a third meaning. I think there's a problem with a lot of contemporary work, and I find it in students, that they often want to say something quite specific when they start, but they think that art is about layering or forced ambiguity and not actually trying to be as clear as you can be. And I think that art that works is being as clear as you can be, whether it's Jackson Pollock. He's trying to be clear, and I think if people have got political things to say, you've got to actually try and say them, and you shouldn't be scared. You don't have to have a layering of fine art. You know, the work can be actually as direct as possible. That's which is what I've tried to do in my work, is make it direct, communicate to people way outside the art world, but also make it work as art and hopefully make it function as an art object.